Hey, welcome back to another video. Hope you enjoyed the last couple of videos I've posted. Today we're going to be looking at more late game fleet design, ship design, and combat tactics. It's been requested by a few people, and that's just natural progression of where we're going. So strap in, it's going to be a long video. Go get yourself a coffee or another beverage if that's your preference, and hope you enjoy it. So what we've got is our artillery battleship. This should form the core of your fleet, which has got the double kinetic artillery there, focused arc emitters. I just like focused arc emitters because they go through shields and armor. But you can swap this out to suit your opponent, whatever they've gone. Heavy armor, then you probably want tachyon lance. If they're heavy in shields, then the mega cannons. So you can swap it out to what your preference is and the enemy you're facing, such as a particular crisis. So mostly armor, bit of shields. The reason I like shields is it keeps that blue bar there, so your enemy doesn't know if you're going heavy shields or armor. If you had all armor, then you only have that orange line, and your opponent, if you're playing a PvP game, knows that you're all armor just by having a look at your fleet. They don't even need the intel. So that's just a little tip. And double afterburners for the evasion and speed. In this fleet, we do have a mix. We have some corvettes, which is disruptor corvettes, point defense, some armor, shields, afterburners as well, with the swarm combat computer. So 64 of them, so hopefully they race in, take the alpha shot from the enemy fleet, or a lot of their damage, and they go in there close range, take out missiles and torpedoes, whatever they've got, and cause havoc while my battleships stay at range and pound away at the enemy. So you can see the corvettes do give a higher firepower, even though this ship has 20 battleships versus 12. In this fleet, we do have artillery as well. Same ship design as what we've got there. This is another mixed fleet though. We've got carrier battleships here. Also focused arc emitters, strike craft, some whirlwind missiles, and marauder missiles, point defense and flak. So a bit of a mix there. For some reason I haven't changed those shields. I'll fix that up. Okay, so carriers do have full armor and one shield with triple afterburners with the carrier combat computers to try and stay at range. Now they should engage at maximum distance here and then try and keep the carriers safer, giving time for the strike craft to engage our corvettes. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. Normally I would have fleets of 200 corvettes. I'd have multiple fleets of them if I'm fighting against in the late game, and all my fleets of battleships and cruisers and that behind, so that my corvettes race in, take the alpha shot, kill any missiles and torpedoes hopefully, and then just run in and cause havoc with the disruptors, picking off ships at close range. Let's see how it goes. There we go.
Engaging enemy fleet.
There we go. Carriers have engaged straight away at maximum range. Should see the strike craft going out. There they go. Corvettes are racing out in front of the battleships as they should. See how they're taking the alpha shot. Most of their focused arc emitters and X-slot weapons fired at the corvettes. You can see there we still have 12 battleships, 64 corvettes still in play, so most of the alpha shots missed. Now they've got their missiles coming in. The point defenses are firing off as well. So you see they're already down a battleship. Corvettes are racing in. Disruptors are firing off now. You can see the disruptors going off everywhere. Okay, we've lost 2 battleships. Fleet power even. A few corvettes down. Relatively even so far. Oh, we've lost 3. We've lost 4, 5. Let's put this on normal slow. Relatively even battle. Both sides going down at a similar pace. Cancel agenda, eh? I don't think we need that. It's a line ball, won this one. Good bit of strike craft could come into play here. They'll whittle away our fleet. Yeah. So I think the carriers get the win here because there's just not enough corvettes or battleships to destroy the enemy fleet prior to losing too many losses. Yep, there we go. So if you look at the losses there, so a bit over half of the corvettes and, well, 3/4 of the battleships were destroyed, and they lost half, 6 battleships. Well, so a bit over a quarter of their fleet. So that was a pretty good result, and that's why the mixed ship designs are very effective. If I just had artillery battleships, and I'll run a scenario of this. We'll see if you just had artillery battleships, how it would come out. Carrier battleships would be quite effective with this because they can mitigate the corvettes, and that's what you have to remember if the enemy is using lots of corvettes against you. That carrier battleship strike craft are your best friend. All right, let's move on to the next one. Okay, so for this fight, we've got our same fleet of artillery battleships and corvette swift disruptors versus a whole fleet of just artillery battleships. So we'll see if this pure firepower can overcome the mixed fleet with the little swarm of corvettes and also battleships. We'll see who comes out on top without the carriers to take care of the corvettes, and we'll see how important those strike craft were.
Engaging enemy fleet.
We go out. Well, the alpha shots are away. We've lost a couple of battleships already. They've lost 1 battleship. You can see the corvettes now swarming the enemy battleships. Still relatively even, although we've lost 4 or 5 battleships now. There are heavy artillery just pounding away. Firepower is relatively similar. We might lose too many battleships though to take out theirs, but the corvettes will come into play to see if their big weapons can target them with that many corvettes. Oh, they've lost a lot of battleships now. So this is where and I think that's just a retreated fleet, just came back now. So that was just where all the corvettes were just swarming their battleships and just taking them out. So they lost 8 battleships. We lost 6 and, oh, what's that? 7 corvettes. So relatively even trade. So the damage in terms of the destruction enemy ships wasn't that high because of you don't have torpedoes in these fleets. So, and the kinetic batteries target more the shields, and you've got huge targets each. So the kinetic batteries aren't quite enough to do that massive damage which one-shots a ship. So, but that showed how effective the strike craft are to include in your fleet when you're facing enemy with smaller ships such as corvettes. Because it went from being a really good victory to a loss simply because they didn't have any strike craft to deal with the swarm of corvettes. All right, we'll move on to the next one. Okay, so for this fight, we've got our missile cruisers. So all the whirlwind missiles, a couple marauder missiles, mostly armor, a little bit of shields, full afterburners, and artillery combat computers, so we can try and kite around and wipe out this enemy fleet, which is the same fleet we used last time of artillery battleships and corvettes. So we're seeing in this one if the missile cruisers can effectively deal with the corvettes and also the artillery battleships at longer range. So you can see there's a firepower difference here. So we'll see if that actually translates into a battlefield victory or defeat.
Engaging enemy fleet.
Excellent weapons firing, whirlwind missiles. So they didn't try to kite away from the corvettes. The corvettes are engaged all at close range. These are all our battleships further away. So the corvettes and the cruisers are mixing it up. So they're obviously going to try and stay at range from the battleships, which I guess is clever. But I've got corvettes there to really mess with them. You can see they were lost what, 5 already. Battleship, lost a few corvettes. This could be a good counter to people using missiles, having a swarm of corvettes mixed into your fleets because they can't kite both. Yeah, you can see they're losing quite badly now. Lost over half their fleet. Firepower's dropped rapidly. We've lost not much at all, really. So this is a very, very big victory. So I guess that's a big lesson. Don't use missile cruisers. That's a retreated fleet there. Don't use missile cruisers against corvettes and artillery battleships. Artillery battleships by themselves would beat the missile cruisers. That's a good counter for them. So that firepower difference did play out in the end. How many losses did we take there? We lost 5 battleships, 13 corvettes versus 25 cruisers. So yeah, that's quite a good exchange. Okay, so this design is proving quite good against a lot of designs. So we'd probably have to mix in some carrier cruisers in there, and we'll try that a little bit later. Okay, next battle. Okay, so for this fight, we've got our same fleet of corvettes and battleships there, artillery battleships. This time we've got energy torpedoes, missiles, long range, fast engines, double afterburners, armor shields. We've got artillery combat computers, so trying to stay at range and use our multiplicative damage from these neutron launchers. Now, don't let the firepower confuse you. Remember that the torpedoes will do up to 800% damage on those battleships. Won't do much against the corvettes, but the missiles should help take care of the corvettes. So that firepower can be, well, significantly higher than that. Now let's see if this will work. See how these energy torpedoes go.
Engaging enemy fleet.
The corvette's racing out again. Energy torpedoes away. Okay, and they are targeting the battleships, which is good. They're meant to target the larger targets. We're down 3 already. 4. Oof, we've lost a lot. We've lost half our fleet of battleships. Bang. So they've lost 6 cruisers. 7. So those energy torpedoes really wrecked us hard. Even though, yeah, and because we don't have a lot of shields, so that's the problem. We only got a little bit of shields, and those energy torpedoes do really good against armor. So that really hurt us. Still got 2 battleships in place. Still got a lot of corvettes though. But those missiles should come into play against the corvettes, you would hope. Lost a lot of hull. Ooh. So it's just the numbers of corvettes now. You can see them all chasing down the cruisers and just whittling them away with those disruptors. Yeah. So it did look like a victory. We have lost a lot of battleships, so it is a costly victory at that. So I think that was the retreated fleet then. Yeah. No, not quite, not yet. We're just chasing down the last of the cruisers. Speed this up. There we go. That's a retreated fleet. Okay, so we did take significant losses in the battleships. We lost 10 in 1 corvette. What did they lose? 21 cruisers. So that's not a bad exchange, really. 10 battleships, 21 cruisers, probably roughly even. But we've won the battle. We've held the day. So I actually thought those cruisers would probably win that fight, but they didn't. I thought the missiles would do better, but they just not targeting those corvettes. So you can see how effective adding in corvettes to your fleet can be. You know, or even having separate fleets of corvettes. You know, like I'm talking like when you've got your big battles and you've got like you're trying to fight, you know, you got a million fleet power, something like that, and you've got like 6 fleets of battleships and a few fleets of cruisers, and then chuck in 2 or 3 fleets of corvettes. Have, you know, 500, 600 corvettes racing in front of your fleet like you see here, spamming the enemy of their PD. You can mix in multiple designs as well, the corvettes, with the... Let's just show you. I've done this previously as well, where you'd swap in flak as well. So you'd have maybe... I'd probably go for a ratio of 2 point defense for every flak. So if you've got, say, 600 corvettes in 3 fleets of 200 each. You know, have 2 fleets with point defences and one with flak. Or you might want to mix in, if say, if you've got 200 corvettes in each fleet, you might want to make one like 140 and then 60 with flak, something like that in each. So it spreads the flak out amongst all the fleets, and when they're going around everywhere, they're spread out. So flak's a good spread rather than all in one fleet. So you can see how effective it is in a lot of battles. All right, next one. All right, so for this battle, we've got our Devastator torpedoes this time with disruptors. So these disruptors should take quick care of those corvettes, hopefully, and these Devastator torpedoes should really wreak havoc with those battleships. We've got the triple afterburners because the job is to race in quickly, close range these battleships, and hopefully do significant damage. Mostly armor again with a little bit of shields. The torpedo combat computers, so you can get into close range and do the extra damage. Everything else is pretty much the same. And we've got our same fleet of artillery battleships and corvettes. Let's see how this fleet does. With this type of design, see, I like to use, in my fleets, I might have, and I'm talking when it's late game, when I might have 20 fleets. And I might have 3 or 4 fleets, or 2 or 3 fleets of these Devastator cruisers. I might have 2 or 3 fleets of the neutron torpedoes. Mainly because these guys will charge in at close range and they'll tank my alpha shots from the enemy fleets rather than the enemy fleets targeting my battleships. And then when they get in close range, they can cause a lot of havoc. And if the enemy does have smaller ships, these disruptors can really help take care of it. So it is a pretty good combination.
Engaging enemy fleet.
Go the X-slot weapons. Whoop. Okay, so they're engaging the corvettes first. You can see the corvettes are going down quite quick. That's the disruptors working. Now the cruisers are heading after the battleships. They've broken through the lines of the corvettes. They've whittled them down quite good. The battleships are hammering away with their kinetics. And what are they doing here? Looks like they got caught in some type of combat loop, is it? Or are they going after the... I don't even see them firing at the corvettes. Huh. So, that's a bug. That is really strange. I'm going to run this again. I'll see it happens a second time. Huh. Alright, I'll run that again. See what happens. That was very strange. Okay, so we've got our fleets back here. The disruptor cruisers. Let's see if that bug happens again or if it's just a odd glitch.
Engaging enemy fleet.
Once again, going after the corvettes first. Flying through them. There's some going after the battleships. Getting after the battleship a bit quicker this time. They are, looks like they're trying to chase them down. Battleships are trying to run away. There are some torpedoes going off. They're not closing the really close range though. They're just staying at a bit of a distance. They're not as bugged like they were last time, but they're not closing to torpedo range. Maybe some are, but they're just like dying before they get there. See the battleship starting in and out. Yeah, here they go. Now some are moving in. Must be because they're dealing with the corvette still. Now they go after the battleships. There you go. You can see the torpedoes going off. You can see once they close in, once they start using those Devastator torps, it's just utterly deadly. Look at this. Watch this. Boom. You're dead. You're dead. Or nearly. No, not quite. And they front back out here. What are they doing? They're just like sitting in the middle playing kill me, kill me. Every ship fire at me. I won't fire back. I'll stay at longer range and not use my primary weapon. So I think Paradox needed a bit of work there on that combat computer. All right. So there's something obviously buggy going on there with that, using Devastator Torps and maybe that combat computer. So probably a different combat computer will benefit that a lot, but we'll move on. Okay, so for this fight, battleships and corvettes once again over this side. This time we've got our artillery cruisers. So we've got double artillery there, and we've also got double plasma. And we're going to be using the line combat computers. Now this is because if you want to stay at long range with medium slot weapons, the only other alternative is really whirlwind missiles. It's not really a good fit with kinetic artillery because they're doing shield damage. So we want something that's complementary. So line, they'll approach the medium range. These guys will pound away their shields from long range. And then as we close, we should be able to do a lot of damage to their armor and hull. So it's far more complementary using weapons like this. You can use lasers and other types of weapons, but you want some anti-armor as well as anti-shield, because we don't have that many weapon slots or large weapon slots to pound down those battleships. So the problems once again is those corvettes, because we don't have anything to deal with them really. Double afterburners, same design really as what we've seen. So let's see how good artillery cruisers versus artillery battleships and corvettes is.
Engaging enemy fleet.
Alpha shot, took out 3. Look at that, going straight after the battle. Look at that, just ignoring the corvettes. Boom. They're going in, they want to close in and use their plasma. Just firing off now. There you go, they're doing quite good, quite good. They are losing quite a few ships though. It's not too bad though, they've been alright. The numbers are starting to tell now though. They've chewed through a few corvettes. Must be the plasma. It's just they haven't killed enough battleships. So you can see how effective it is. Like, they're just going after the corvettes constantly. In nearly every battle. Alright, that was the retreated fleet. So, another good victory there to the kinetic artillery battleships and corvettes. Alright. Try something a bit different. Okay, so for this fight, we've got carrier cruisers. So, 1 strike craft, double whirlwind missiles, double marauder missiles. We've got point defenses. Not that these guys have got really missiles, but it just shows you the design. We're going for carrier combat computers, so we can try and stay at max range and give our strike crafts as much time as possible. Using the triple afterburners to try and give us the speed to keep away. Although with the artillery though, it's unlikely. So, and once again, artillery battleships and corvettes. And I think what should happen is the strike craft will be very effective against the corvettes, but it'll just be if enough damage can be done to the battleships, because normally artillery battleships directly counter carrier designs. So carriers counter the corvettes, but the artillery battleships counter the carriers.
Engaging enemy fleet.
I haven't seen really ship losses yet. It seems they're going after the battleships, but look at it. Okay, we're losing some now. Corvettes. Just seem to be losing too many too quickly. Not as effective as I thought it would be, although their firepower is dropping quite quick. The strike craft always comes into play later in the game, later in the battle though. They just lost too many, I think. Not many battleships are down. They just can't do the damage to them. Yep, so that's a big win to the battleships and corvettes. Yeah, very effective. How many did you lose there? So 26 cruisers versus 1 battleship and 21 corvettes. Yeah. Big loss there. The carrier cruisers just didn't have enough firepower. And that's the problem, because you've got the double point defense slots, so which negates your firepower. If you had a few more weapons in there, it'd be a lot better. Okay, move on to the next one. Okay, so for this fight, we've got our disruptor cruisers, or medium disruptors there, 2 level 2s, max triple afterburners there, so we can close the distance quick as possible. Mostly armor, shields, going for picket combat computer, so that we can try and stay at medium range and pick off the enemy ships and corvettes. Now, hopefully this is effective against the corvettes, and it'll just be, can we do enough damage to the battleships to their hull to kill them faster than they'll kill us? Let's find out.
Engaging enemy fleet.
Oof, look at those corvette numbers drop. Oof, they are getting shredded. They're busted through the corvettes. Now they're going after the battleships. You can see them now, they're firing. See, they get medium range firing, they're working all right there. Just depends if we can whittle them down enough. You can see the kinetic artillery pounding away at them. Still just flying around in a circle though. It's like, come on, why don't you just fly around in a circle over here? You're only firing there. I think this is what makes artillery so important as well. You can just see the combat computer works well. It's just not working as well. Flying a circle here. Maybe because they've got a battleship there, and a battleship there, and yeah, that's a retreated fleet. So they did alright getting through the corvettes, but it was just getting those battleships further back. They just got absolutely slaughtered. How do we beat this? Alright, so I think we've seen that combination works really well. Battleships and corvettes. I know something. Let's try this. Alright, this time we have 80 artillery destroyers. Double artillery, double point defense there. Armor, shields, afterburners to close the distance. Artillery combat computers to try and just stay at range and blast away. Now these point defense will do damage to armor and 100% armor damage and plus armor penetration, so it shouldn't be too bad once you get through the limited shields of those corvettes. So let's find out how we go. Same fleet over here, the battleships and corvettes. Let's see how artillery destroyers go. Might have problems against those corvettes, but they lost 11 already. They lost a battleship. Just getting those corvettes once again, just whittling them away. They just lost so much so quickly. It's just those corvettes. Those corvette swarm disruptors are just deadly. Absolutely deadly. I thought the destroyer battleship would do a lot better than that. I'm going to rejig the design, try again. Okay, so for this fight, we've optimized our destroyers. I think the last design was just a older design, which I was using, but this one's much better, particularly against those corvettes. So they've got double disruptors, which should be able to deal with those corvettes, and I've also put in reactive armor to armor hardening, so that we increase our armor penetration. So, and I've also put another armor slot in there, so hopefully our armor will not be as penetrated as easily by the enemy disruptors. And because of our all armor, that sort of doesn't give the bonuses in their kinetic shields, kinetic artillery anyway for their shields. So let's see how this goes. This hopefully does a lot better.
Engaging enemy fleet.
Both disruptors going at it there. There we go. They're losing a lot more corvettes. We're not losing as much now. So bust through their corvette screen. Artillery is still firing away at the battleships. They haven't lost any yet. And now we're moving into closer. Doing a lot better this fight. The destroyers are starting to focus fire down the battleships. They probably could have changed the combat computer too, to take advantage of the disruptors, so it would close more. But maybe it doesn't bug out doing it like this as well. So they got the advantage because they're fighting, targeting bigger ships with their large weapons, where they're targeting smaller ships. I'll go away, election. There we go. There we go. We've got a win there. The artillery destroyers for the win, where most of the other battleships and cruisers failed. So what did we lose there? So we lost 41 destroyers. They lost 5 battleships and 40 corvettes. So it's probably roughly even, really. Those battleships take a long time to replace as well. So the destroyers, artillery destroyers with disruptors, so you can target the enemy fleet, the bigger ships, and also the smaller ships with your disruptors. So there you go. That could be a really effective late game build as well. If the enemy's coming at you, like I've said, with lots of strike craft, or not strike craft, lots of corvettes, then using this type of fleet would be very effective, because you can target their bigger ships and their smaller ships with the one design. So that's really, really good if you want to go that way. So this could be like another type of screening ship. So it's like a counter to the mass corvette swarm of people using mass disruptors and point defense. Well, then you have a few fleets of these destroyers in there, which can go after the corvettes, but the benefit of them, they're also contributing to the bigger fight of targeting enemy capital ships, whereas those corvettes weren't really targeting enemy capital ships until they got through the screens. This can do both at the same time. So yeah, it's pretty effective. I like that. All right, I think I'll end this video here. It's quite a lot of battles we've just had, and I have to process this and do some more for next time. I am going to hook up some large battles. I might do that tomorrow. From the multiplayer game we've had, I'll try and organise the multiplayer game and have some bigger battles, hopefully. Depends if the AI will cooperate with me. I find it hard to organise the bigger battles. I might need a human opponent to help me out with that one. But all right, if you like that, if you like this video, hit that like button for me, and helps with the algorithm. And if you've got some suggestions on ship designs or what battles you like, leave some comments, send some feedback, so that I can produce some better videos and show you what you'd like to see for next time. All right, bye for now. Thanks for watching.